Okay, we are working on solving logarithmic equations today. So here is the start of my notes. If you want to take a second and just pause and write it down, you can. So we're going to go over a couple of things. So the first thing is, you'll notice that our equations start out with the word log in them. So here's a log. You'll also notice that there is no base written. So remember that if there is no base written, we don't see one here, then that is a base of 10. Okay. So the steps are, we're going to solve, we basically want to figure out what is that X number right there. So the way we do that is we're first going to get our log by itself. Well, right now it kind of is like, well, I don't know, is the log by itself? Is it not? So here's an example of when it's not by itself. So do you see that 8 in front? That means it's the log of X is not by itself. This, even though there's this stuff right here, this is part of the log, so you don't have to do anything here. The log is technically by itself. So the first thing you're going to do is get the log by itself. The second thing you're going to do is change to exponent form. So you're going to do that little around the world, the little loop-de-loop. Okay, you're going to do that, and then once you get there, then you should be able to solve. So let's see what happens when we do that. 10 raised to the second power equals 4x minus 3. Oh my gosh, super easy equation. Now we can just go ahead and solve. 100 equals 4x minus 3. Then we're going to add 3. So 103, because we added 3, equals 4x. And now we're going to divide by 4. So our x equals, let's see, don't know what that number is. 103 divided by 4. Oh, whoa, hold on. 103 divided by 4. Okay, 25.75. There's our answer. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Our base is 10 again. Because it's not there, we have to kind of write it in. So it's 10 to the negative 1 power equals this. 10 to the negative 1 power equals 3 minus 2x. Okay, so remember that this really means that you are going to have a fraction. So this is 1 over 10 equals 3 minus 2x. Okay, so sometimes I like to just write down what I need to do, and then I'm going to have to use the calculator anyway. So if I just kind of show what I'm going to do, so like, for example, I need to get rid of the 3. So I'm going to subtract the 3. So I'm going to put that right here. So right now, so far, I have to do this, and then I have to do this in my calculator. And then the last thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to divide by a negative 2. So I'm going to take all of that and divide by a negative 2. So we're going to take steps one at a time. Now, it depends on what kind of calculator you have, but 1 over 10, and you could write this out. That's fine. Do that. Do this. Find common denominator, subtract, and then divide it. But eventually, you will have to use a calculator. Okay, so I have a fancy one that I can do a fraction. If you have one that you can do a fraction, great. And then I'm going to minus 3, and that's my answer. And if I were to do it here, I would also get negative 29 over 10. And then of that, now I'm going to divide by a negative 2. Okay, so now I'm going to take that, I'm going to leave it in my calculator, I'm going to divide by a negative 2. And I have a fraction, so it's 29 over 20. But I'm also going to change that to a decimal. So that's 1.45. So x equals 1.45 for this problem. Okay, next one. Now we're going to get to one where we actually have something we got to do first. So the log is right here. We need to get that by itself. And what this means, what this means is 8 times this log, okay? So I'm going to divide out an 8 so that my log is by itself. Log of x equals, and this is going to equal 2. Now I'm going to loop-de-loop it out. 10 to the second power equals x. 10 to the second power equals x. So x is going to equal 100. Okay, moving to the next one. This is our last one we're going to do. number 4. Three times log of 1 minus 2x equals 6. Okay, so the first thing is we got to get rid of that 3 because this is what we want to get by itself. So we're going to divide by 3. We're going to log of 1 minus 2x equals 2. Okay, now we're going to log it out. We're going to around the world, whatever you want to call it, loop-de-loop it out. 10 to the second power equals 1 minus 2x. Okay, now we're going to square the 10 to get 100. We're going to subtract 1 to get 99, and then we're going to divide by a negative 2. So when we divide it by a negative 2, let's see what we get. 99 divided by negative 2, and we get a negative 49.5. There we go. Okay, so just to go over the quick lesson, you got to get the log by itself. So you kind of say like anything to the right of the log can stay, but anything on the left there, we need to make sure we have it. Oh, and another example too would be like if you had something like log of 1 minus 2x. Let's say you had like a plus 3 here and then a 6. You would want to get rid of that plus 3. So you'd subtract 3 and then divide by 3, and then you would have the log by itself. So that is another possibility. Okay, but we can talk about those in class. All right, just try to do the ones that I have put on this quizzes activity. All right, see you soon.